Well, welcome, everybody. My name is Tony Bass, and I want to welcome you to Landscape Experts TV. This is where the leading lawn and landscape companies get to compare, get to show off and showcase their finest projects and share their expertise by featuring real-world examples of their work. Now, here with Landscape Experts TV, we help inspire creation and preservation of beautiful landscapes, outdoor spaces that you admire, that you think about all the time. And our platform highlights the craftsmanship and the passion that goes into the very best in the landscape industry. And I want to introduce you to somebody right now that I think is one of those expert craftsmen, and his name is Hal Pruitt. And so I'm going to see, do we have Hal on the line now? Are you there? There's Hal.
Sir.
Is this the real Hal?
It is.
Well, Hal, thank you for joining us today on Landscape Experts TV, and I'm excited to show and share some of the projects that you have completed. But as I get started, I wanted to give you just a moment to help us know a little bit more about you. I've just changed the slide, and hopefully you can see it, but give us just a little introduction of Cumming Lawn Service and Hal Pruitt.
Okay. Yeah, we started out with just a Bobcat and a dump truck, and was really just hauling dirt to like a landscape supply. I kind of fell in behind the guy I was working for. He was probably not really someone I needed to be around, but it kind of fell in place that when his equipment broke, I was able to fall in behind him and get my own equipment, and I just picked up where he left off. And so I got to start, just basically took over his company. And as I did that for a little while, I started moving into working with some builders and landscapers, just doing grading work, hauling, and then the more landscapers I started working for and grading companies I was working for, then they started buying their own Bobcats and kind of started pushing me out. And then I went more towards landscaping. And then the first watering ban came along in Forsyth County and shut us down. And we were not able to water grass or anything like that. And, while they were getting the rules regulated about that, one of my friends had just started running a power equipment store, and I started meeting some landscapers around there, and that's when the lawn maintenance started. And that was in 2000, and about May of 2000 was when I started full-time lawn maintenance. And that's when I learned about 12-month contracts. That's when it changed from feast to famine into learning how to get a year-round income for my family. And the more I learned about that, it seemed like the way to go. And that's kind of how Cumming. That's how Cumming Lawn Service.
I understand today that you do quite a bit of lawn maintenance, but you're also doing landscaping. And we wanted to talk a little bit about those projects today. And I appreciate you sharing a handful of photos and images. But is this right? And I don't know if you saw what I had on the screen a moment ago, but does this explain your company's service line? Lawn maintenance, landscaping, and hardscaping.
Yeah,
so we're going to show.
We started more landscaping in 2016. I mean, we did a little bit all along, but we started trying to get a full-time crew going in 2016. That got better in 2020, when all the pandemic came about. And then the last couple of years, we started slowly getting some hardscaping going. And our SEO is getting a little bit better with that. So we have, we've added that. The profits are good in that. So we're trying to get that going, really well. And some of those jobs are picking up.
Well, Hal, I want to begin with a photo you shared with me. And I'm going to flash on the screen. I want to know, can you see the photo now, Hal? So you're familiar with this project, right?
I am.
So here's a before picture that Hal shared with us. And then here's an after picture. Okay, so let's go back just a moment. Before, you'll see the concrete, the driveway. You'll see these big crepe myrtles that are a little overgrown, hadn't been maintained. You see the mailbox over there, and then boom, voila. Okay. So begin with, what made this job stand out as one of your favorites, Hal?
Well, you can't really see it for the trees, but the guy's front yard, he did have some pine trees, like you can see in the background there, that came halfway out in his front yard. He had those taken out before we started, so there was two massive stumps in his front yard, and just behind the driveway there, you can kind of see it at the very back of the picture. That came out and just dropped straight off. So we actually took, we took a good bit of dirt out of his front yard, and we made that front yard usable. He's a young guy getting his family started, and he really had nowhere for him and his family to go outside and do anything. The backyard is very small. You can see it's very shaded. There's really no backyard. So we made that front area a place where he can take his kids out, and have a place to, to kick a ball around or whatever. And
well,
so
that's exactly the second question I was going to ask you, Hal, is what kind of client were you working for here, and how did their needs influence this design, this result that you created, which is really clean and neat, and so you said young family, kids needing a play area. Is that it? Or is there anything else?
Yeah, he kind of had an idea of his own what he wanted to do, and so we just kind of worked together, and we tried to get him to take the cross tie or the timber wall out front and either regrade that or change it to block so we could make one wall and give him a little bit more room there, but that took a little bit too much of the budget. So, we just kind of worked together with his idea and ours, and then just kind of transformed it. I think in the future, we're going to add some more hardscape to the left and try to redo his backyard to give him, more of an outdoor living area in the back as well. But I think that's a little further down the road. But we just kind of took what he had in mind and what we could do and just kind of worked together until we met his budget, and then went from there.
So this is an example of a front yard makeover. That's what I would call it. Would you call it anything different, Hal?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. So you shared another project, and let me put those slides up real quick. We've got a before and we've got an after. And let me flip it back. Before, you can see the raised deck to the left, upper corner of the picture. You can see a gently sloping yard to the right, natural areas. You see a back patio underneath the upper deck, but then boom, now we've got something completely different. We have well-defined beds for the natural areas. Obviously, you guys have sodded the entire backyard, but you've defined the space. It looks much more like someone's property. Their backyard is being maintained and being used. So start with what made this job stand out for you as one of your favorites.
Yeah, so they again had a lot of trees, had too much shade. It had TIF 419, which was a builder grade sod that needed full sun, and they just had lost about all their grass. So when they had the trees taken down, then we come in, got rid of what 419 was there, sprayed and killed it, defined the areas that still had shade, switched over to TIF Tough, which can survive with 4 to 5 hours of sunlight, brought the grass in, defined that area with pine straw, and then gave her a little bit of both worlds there.
So one of my jobs, Hal, here at Landscape Experts TV is to make sure that the landscape experts don't use too much technical language to confuse people. And so let me just interject here for just a moment. Hal's referring to the Tiffaway Bermuda grass 419, which is a long-standing successful turf grass used in golf course industry, but it is a full sun turf, and the improved variety that he's talking about, Tiff Tough, is a newer variety of Bermuda grass, hybrid Bermuda grass, which does have some shade tolerance that until recently was completely unavailable. So you've modernized the turf, right, Hal?
That's it. That's it. We use it a lot and have had great success with it.
Tell me about the client. Tell me about the client, the person you're working for. Is this the same? Is this the backyard of the house you showed us a minute ago? Or is this a different project?
No, this is totally different. This is totally different. So her husband had passed away, and I think if I remember correctly, they had started this project when he got sick, and then they had to stop it until he went through the cancer. He passed away, and then once she got all that stuff stopped, then she finished the project then, and that's when after he passed away, that's when she hired us, and I wish she would have got us before. She did hire another hardscape company to put some steps and stuff in, and they did not treat her fairly. You can't really see it in the picture. It's over to the far left, but they did a terrible job on the steps, and so we could have did it, but she didn't know that at the time. So we just got to do the softscapes. But
let's take a look at a couple more photos now. You shared this photo of what appears to be a porch or carport area off of a home. Yep. Tell me about this project. Why did you select this? What made this job stand out?
I wish I could have found the before picture. I dug and dug for it, but this particular side of the home right here does not get any sunshine. And they had some holly there, and so they just would not survive at all. They just get really thin and leggy. And so we tore all of those out. They get some runoff the way the driveway comes around. It kept pushing the mulch into the yard. And so we changed over, and in the summertime, we used the impatiens there, the shade tolerant impatiens.
Sure.
And we made the 2 flower beds, changed over to a better shade plant there in the center, and they just really show off for them.
So in the previous photos, Hal, the previous projects, I couldn't help but notice a large amount of pine straw mulch in the flower beds, but here you're using a river rock, it appears, as the bed mulch. What was your reasoning behind that?
I'm sorry for the noise. I didn't know that one of the crews were stopping by. Can you ask me that again?
Yeah. The question was, in the previous projects, we saw pine straw mulch, and then in this one, we see the river rock being used as a bed. As a bed.
So, the runoff from the driveway was just washing the mulch out. So we put rock all around to help that, and then we used the mini nuggets around the flowers to really make the flowers stand out.
Gotcha. Neat project. It really looks clean.
All the bed.
All right, here's another picture, Al. Tell me a little bit about this project, and maybe even tell us about who you have in the photograph.
Yeah, so the landscape foreman is on the right, and one of my best lawn maintenance crews there to the left. This is the winter time, so I was able to pull them in to help. That's the guy there in the middle. He's been with me. Next year will be 10 years, and he had worked for me before a long time ago. He can do it all in this industry. So he helped on this job, but this particular job has been a long time customer. and they had a border wall around this landscape bed here, and it had moss all over it. And I told them 2 or 3 times that the trees that they had were just killing their grass and also their bed as well. Their plants were just hardly had no leaves on them. None of their plants were shade tolerant. So we talked about making a better border around the bed, and also they had a lot of erosion from the way the water come down the road. So instead of just putting a border back around it, we built this small wall, and we convinced them to cut down a pretty large tree and then really raise the canopy on another one. And that opened that you can see the sunlight coming in now.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
we built this wall all the way around the bed, which also helps slow the water down. And it's going to open up for their fescue there a little bit. They still got enough shade for the fescue.
Gotcha.
But that little wall turned out really well around that bed. And
Let's take a look at another project. It seems like this theme of walls is starting to pick up here in your designs, in your landscape projects. So tell me just a bit about what made this job stand out as one of your favorites.
Well, this one here, this is more of just leveling up for the fire pit. So this couple here, they did just have the chairs and in the metal fire pit you see just sitting in the yard. So we also do the maintenance at this property. So we were getting calls constantly. Your guys came out, they moved the chairs, but they didn't put them back. So I said, well, hey, would you guys like to fix that problem? Let us come out and design you a fire pit area and level it up for you, and then you'll have a place to sit. And they said, and the guy said, well, come on out here and let's talk about it. So I told him, I gave him my pitch of what I thought would look really good. And so we put that together for him and put in the walkway over there to it from the steps and made it all flush so we can continue to mow the grass. And so we just put up the little grate. I mean, those were just Home Depot block, nothing fancy for that. But we put just enough to level it up and put everything back just like it was, and just put the slate rock around the flagstone, and then put the fire pit back. And they love it. He said during the fall they're out there every night with neighbors. And
it seems as though you're helping people enjoy their outdoor spaces more than ever. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And we did the same thing for him behind his garage and made him a better storage area, and took that same block and made it level. And he put a little storage shed back there for the same customer.
So the projects never stop. How about this one, Hal? I see air conditioning units, and I see River Rock, and I see a wall structure again. What was the problem that you're trying to correct?
Here, my back is almost touching the house next door. So here again, we got a shade problem. The grass would not grow. Water running between the houses, and was just when they put these units in, they're sitting on a plastic foundation for the AC units, and it was just washing it out. So we did a little something to divert the water to the outside, and then just leveled up the ground a little bit and put River Rock around it to help hold the stabilize the area so his units would stay level and work efficiently and properly.
Gotcha. And then I started seeing this theme with all kinds of aggregate, all kinds of rock, flat rock, edging rock. Here we got coarse stone, and then we got a fine stone. So tell me about this. This looks pretty cool, man.
Sod and sod would not grow due to shade, and that's a very level area. The water was standing right out in front of the patio there. So we dug a pit, filled it full of gravel, put a 2-inch pipe in it, ran it out the other side. So when the water fills up there, it just drains out. And then made a walkway around with pea gravel, and then filled the rest of it in with the larger area so that the water could kind of run through it out to the driveway, and put a border in.
So this is a case where you had drainage problems, and
Yep.
you've addressed the drainage problems, it sounds like, with some type of a in-ground cistern, and then you have beautified the ground by using aggregates, which will be much more tolerant, right? I mean, it's like, this has got to be pretty low maintenance when you start thinking about,
That's it.
comparing that
This,
to.
this is a retired teacher who wanted something to do. So he wanted to cut his own lawn, but he had a good bit of lawn. So he said, I'm okay if we just make this rock, but I want it to look good.
So I got to ask,
we
Hal,
come together with a plan.
who is the creative person at Cumming Lawn Service? Is it Hal, or is it a combination
Well,
of Hal and his
I
client?
usually do most of the designs. I mean, they're usually pretty simple. But a lot of times it's me and the homeowner together. You know, we come up with something that works for them, and and then I help put a little bit of creativity in it as well.
I saw this photo, and I thought, oh boy, I don't know if this is on the lake, because I know you're not far
Yes.
from Lake Lanier, but I was curious. I see these, long set of steps going down the hill, someone's backyard. Is this a lakefront property?
Yes, my guys asked me to not do this again because this guy does not have a carport. His driveway ends in his parking area.
Okay.
And then there's steps down to the front door. So we tried with a skid steer to get those 400-pound steps down to the front of the house. And that just made a big mess to have to repair. So we ended up with a tree dolly from the road all the way to the bottom, one step at a time. And there was, I think there was 35 of them.
And they're 400 pounds a piece?
Yeah, about 350 to 400 pounds a piece, yeah.
So it's a big job, right? I mean, this is a really big job. And obviously, again, with the way you've got the large, I don't know if you call that surge stone or riprap, but you got this large granite.
The surge stone was already there. It was filled with silt. So we dug through and cleaned it out and set it aside, put steps in, and then put the surge stone back.
Neat. So the aggregate and the hardscape work continues. I'm showing another photo right now. This looks like somebody's backyard project. So tell us again, what made this job stand out as one of your favorites? And what were some of the challenges of what you're trying to solve here, problems you're trying to fix?
They wanted a sitting area out away from their, I'm standing at the edge of their patio basement right under their deck. And they wanted another sitting area. The way the sun came in the evening, it was right on their deck and coming in their patio. So they wanted another sitting area that would be in the shade late in the day. So we put the walkways you see in the grass, and they had, again, too much shade that was killing some of their lawn. You see some new sod there. So we
I can tell it. I don't know if our viewers can see it right now, but there is new sod, and then there's some established turf over to the right. So y'all are trying to obviously work within a budget and try to preserve what was there that would
Right.
Tell us about the grass that you have planted inside the stone patio.
That's Mondo grass. That's a 12 by 18 area. And in the center section, we have all of that flagstone really close together, and that's the actual sitting area. And then as we got to the outside, we spread them out to about 4 inches apart, and then we got Mondo grass mixed all in between those. And then those will eventually all grow together, and that'll just be solid green.
Okay, and Mondo grass, for those of you who don't know, is a ground cover that is shade tolerant. It only grows up to what, I don't know, depending on, I guess, the variety, but this variety looks like
that's dwarf. That's dwarf Mondo.
Pure dwarf Mondo, so it grows up to what, 2.5, 3 inches height or something like that. It's really short and compact, doesn't require mowing, so it would be a low maintenance way to create some greenery within the hard surface. Pretty creative, Hal, pretty creative. All right, so tell us about this project. I'm trying to wrap up here and us not go too far beyond about 30 minutes of introduction here on your projects, but tell us about this
All right, so this lady wanted to add some more color in her backyard. When we started working for her, that is all HOA common area in the far back. She wanted to hide some of that, but she also wanted color. So we started off to begin with just adding the screen trees that you see in the very far back. We did that the first season. Here again, this is probably a lower end economical neighborhood. So we started out putting screen trees in first. The next year we come back and we put the crepe myrtles in.
Okay.
And then the next year, which you can't see, we put some color bushes around her house. We kind of went every other one with a burgundy and a yellow leaf shrub to give her some color around her house. And then this past year, we did this one, and we got a Japanese maple, a limelight hydrangea, which got the big cone blooms. So we got the burgundy and the white in the back. We got some encore azaleas and some drift rose, and then we got some in the front left is some yellow kaleidoscopilia, and so got all different colors of leaves and blooms just to really brighten up the backyard.
Oh, neat. Okay. All right. Now we're getting here towards the end. We're getting here towards the end, but we just had to get this in here. You were so proud of this project you recently completed. Tell us about this fire pit and this project and the customer that you're working for.
Yeah, so we've been working with this customer for probably, I don't know, 12 years. And we did a little bit of everything for her, from drainage all the way to, she called me the other day and said, we want to, I mean, that area was, the only thing that was there was the rose bush you see on the left and the camellia in the corner. And the rest of it was just mud. And so they said that they wanted to put a fire pit there, or a crepe myrtle, whichever one would fit their budget. And I think they really wanted the fire pit, so, because there was a big difference in that budget.
I'll bet.
We talked to her about either pavers or flagstone, and they wanted the more natural. So we put that together, and we got everything done. We got the pit put together. They picked out the logs, and that is a gas fire pit. And
gas, okay.
Yep.
So they don't have to go out and cut a bunch of wood or go haul wood in to enjoy a fire pit in the evening, huh?
Yep. Yeah, and we put the flagstone down, and everything we do is dry. We don't do any masonry work, so that's polymetric sand around the flagstone, and then we got flagstone path going out to the grass, which is where the picture's taken, and then over to the patio. And that job was just finished about 15 minutes before we started, and they got the picture over to us.
So let me try to summarize here for just a moment, if I can, Hal. Because I've known you for quite a while, and I know that you continue to work on growing your business, and I was thrilled that you agreed to come on the Landscape Experts TV. Our goal was to introduce you and some of your work to folks in your service area who might be interested in hiring your company to help them with their landscaping, with their lawn maintenance, or with their hardscaping. But help me zero in here for a moment, Hal. What is your company's service area? Tell us that, please.
We work in the Cumming, Georgia area, and the North Alpharetta and Milton area. We're pretty tight. We are about 50 miles north of Atlanta, and we stay pretty compact in those areas. We have probably for about 15 to 20 years now been one of the top 5 fastest growing counties in the nation. And so I figure, why drive to Atlanta when we got the fastest growing population in the country? So
let me ask you this, Hal. If someone was interested in working with your company, what is the best way for them to get in touch with you?
CummingLawnService.com, and there's a request a quote link on any page you go to, and to submit that form, that alerts us right away. There's a message box on that form to let us know what you're wanting. From there, we can get a link to you that will allow me to come out and meet with you if you want to do that. The phone number is also there on the screen. You can call. We're happy to talk to you, or through the, a lot of people want to do digital now, or you can do the form, either one.
So just in case someone is listening as they drive or listening as they jog, we want you to know that Cumming Lawn Service is available via phone at 770-337-8502. That's 770-337-8502. Our owner of Cumming Lawn Service is Hal Pruitt. He established a company in 1990. They today provide service to, I know, over 200 properties, both residential and commercial, in the lawn maintenance part of the business. I know that they are constantly working for folks that want to improve the look of their landscaping. They're capable of doing hardscaping work, which is the inclusion of stone and walls and patios into their landscaping designs. And how I want to wrap up with this, and I have no idea how you might respond, but do you have any kind of discount programs for certain types of the community, or certain times of the year? Like, is there a certain time of the year where you'd say, hey, if you contact us during this time of the year, you're bound to get a really great price from our company?
I mean, we have from time to time. I mean, we don't usually have any specific things set up, but there are times that we do offer some discounts. We usually send those out once you submit the form. We do have newsletters that we send out that has discounts in those. There is a coupon on every one of those for whatever the service is that is the time of year in that month, whether it be flower installs or mulch or pine straw or a plant install or a cleanup. There is a discount on every one of those. So getting connected with that newsletter would be the first way to get that discount.
Okay, terrific. And then Hal, just so our audience knows a little bit about the size of projects, the scope of projects, can you give me a range? We looked at a number of projects today that include things like the outdoor fire pits, the hardscaped areas, flower beds, trees, shrubs, sodding. I mean, the work goes on and on. A project like this with these large steps for both, that's a big hardscape job. Working with aggregates, you got to have big equipment for that, to move that kind of stuff around. What is the range of scope of projects? Like, you guys have a minimum size, and what's the biggest job you've ever done?
Yeah, so I would say that our projects range from 2,500 to 25,000. That's about our sweet spots.
2,500 to 25,000. So those are affordable projects for many property owners. And so if you happen to be in the Cumming, Georgia area and you're looking for a professional on a landscape company, we want you to know about Hal Pruitt and Cumming Lawn Service. We want you to know that Hal is standing by. He's ready to help you, and he would be, and I have to mention this, Hal, I couldn't help but notice you guys have been in business a really long time now, so you're not a rookie at this anymore, right?
Right. Been around a while.
Hal, you still with me? Did I lose Hal?
I don't know. Somehow I got cut off. Sorry about that.
I can hear you, but it's very low. I don't know what happened.
I don't either.
something popped up on the screen that I'd lost you, but I don't know. Am I
Okay,
back?
I hear you now. Hear you now. Okay, you're back. You're back. You're back.
I don't know what happened.
Well, let's ignore that and let's focus on this. I understand you're not a rookie at landscaping anymore. You've been doing it for quite a number of years, establishing back in 1990. So well established in the area. I understand you grew up in the Cumming area, and so you're going to be there for
Yeah.
folks.
I always
Any
tell
final
everybody I
words,
got
Hal?
it. Yeah, I always tell all my customers. They said, "Where'd you go to school?" And I said, "Well, I got a doctorate in failing and losing my own money and figuring out how to fix it." So that's the way to learn.
It looks like a lot of people are trusting you to take care of their properties, improve their landscapes, and so I'm thrilled to get to meet with you here today, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon, Hal. Okay, thanks for being here on Landscape Experts TV. Remember, this is where we help lawn and landscape business owners meet the folks that need to enhance their properties. And if you have not heard about us before, please share what you found or where you found us, and tell your friends, hey, you want to meet a well-qualified landscaper to help you with your project. Landscape Experts TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tony Bass, your host here at Landscape Experts TV, saying bye-bye, and bye to you too, Hal.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, we just wanted to give us a space there